Hello and welcome, fellow bookworms and film fans. Welcome to this week's book review of The Consented Narrative, where we will be looking at Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. Now, that is, it's called Meddling Kids, and obviously when you think of Scooby-Doo, you think, I'd have got away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and your dumb dog and so on and so forth. And I love Scooby-Doo. In fact, one of my favourite films of all time, and I know people hate it and they don't like it, is the Scooby-Doo live-action version. I love it. I honestly do. When I go to Monster Island, you've got Rowan Atkinson in it, you can't go wrong. I probably enjoy it. So this book kind of takes that successful sort of like, four children and a dog, solving cases. But what this book does is it goes forward in time to when they're sort of like adults. And it's not a spoiler, so I'll say it anyway. But one of the main people, sort of like the Fred character, as it were, he's dead. And he's talking through the Shaggy character, as it were. So Nate is the Shaggy type character. You've got Peter is the Fred type character. You've got Andy, who's like a tomboy. So, so I suppose, yeah, she's sort of Daphne, because the other one is more sort of like the intelligent one. And then you've got the dog, of course. And it's dealing with, because obviously, apart from the live action Scooby-Doo, any sort of Scooby-Doo cartoon that you came across, it was never a real monster. It was a man in a mask. And yet they never start off the thing saying, oh, it's a man in a mask. They literally always end it going, and it was Old Man Smithers. But this is very interesting because it goes back. So, their last case wasn't all it seemed to be. And that kind of had an effect on them going forward. Peter ends up dying, and then the rest of them join together because Andy gets them all together because she understands that their last case wasn't as straightforward as it was, and that there was something else and something underlying on it. And it started off really well, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was getting through it. I found the ending, sort of like before it fully ended, sort of like the climax, as it were, a little bit long. Now I get annoyed with slow burner books. I do. I feel like I need to be grabbed straight away. And I was with this book, and I did struggle to put it down. I was like, oh, this is quite intriguing. And then it gets to the bit where the monsters are real. And, they're going through this whole climax and, fighting with them and figuring out how to send them back or whatever. And I just felt it was very, like, I don't know how else to say it, but long. I just felt at that point I was almost skim reading, and I hate doing that. And I did have to go back and reread a couple of times and go, oh, hang a minute, I didn't read that right, because I hate skim reading. I do, but I was getting bored. And then it pulled it back at the end, which really annoyed me, because I was like, actually this has ended on quite a good note, but the middle, like sort of like the almost to the end, was like I was bored. So I would recommend this book. I would. It gets a 3 out of 5 for me though, because I feel like with a lot of things, with the ends, I need to be kept the whole way through. And I feel like if you've got a good beginning and you've got a good middle, if your ending lets you down, if at any point of the 3, the beginning, the middle, of the end, if any of those 3 let you down, that's it. For me, I've got to be grabbed, I've got to hold my attention, and the ending has got to be as good as I thought it'd be. And when they're sort of like going through and it's just constant, and you just sort of like, oh my god, is it not ended yet? And oh, have they not done this? Literally just flipping through, being like, and they're still being, and it's like, I get that you want to have this big sort of like scene, but I feel like sometimes in books it's harder to convey for the simple fact that, in the film you'd get this just chase scene, and it's quick and it's easy and you see it, and whereas in books it's a lot more descriptive, so sometimes it can lose its oomph, as it were. It's not a bad book. I probably would read it again, and that's why I've given it a 3 out of 5. But obviously, if you agree or disagree with anything that I say, please do leave it below in the comments. The characters themselves were very well rounded as well, which is good, because you do worry when it's like a spoof on a popular, because it is, like, but when it's a spoof on like a popular TV show and film series and you know, classic Hanna-Barbera characters, you do sort of sit there and go, huh, you know, it can become a character. I can't say that word. Why do you even try? It can become sort of like, you know what I mean. It can almost be like it's trying to imitate it too much, that it doesn't quite hit the mark. But they got the original characters and they had their own way of interacting, and especially because you see them as adults, and I know that you see them as adults basically in the film series, which is fine. But you see them as adults, but with adults with issues as well, and it's dealt with so well that you kind of sit there and go, okay, yeah, I'll let you off. But as I said, I enjoyed the majority of it, and if you do like it, I would definitely recommend giving it a go, you know, buying it, have a read, and leave it below in the comments if you did buy this based on my recommendation. But remember to subscribe to the channel so that you're alerted whenever a new video comes out. Thank you so much for your continued support with the Consented Narrative channel. Don't forget to invite people to the Facebook group, to the Instagram page, or just to follow on the YouTube channel. I'm more than happy to grow it. If there's any book to film adaptations you'd like me to do, any book reviews that you'd like me to do, please leave it below in the comments. I'm more than happy to get to them. I do have a long reading list and I do keep buying new books. My bad. But I do try and get to them as quickly as I can. But thank you so much. And remember to always keep it contento.